Okay, and we are having the Planning Commission administrative hearing. I first need to read the chair statement regarding the Open and Public Meetings Act for this hearing. As of November 5th, 2020, in accordance with Utah Code 524207-4, I have determined that conducting meetings of the Provo City Planning Commission with an anchor location such as the council chambers presents a substantial risk to the health and safety has classified coronavirus disease, also known as COVID-19, as a pandemic. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention state that COVID-19 is easily spread from person to person between people who are in close contact with one another. The state of Utah is currently subject to a public health emergency order, which limits the size of public gatherings and which requires people to wear face coverings and follow social distance guidelines. Utah County is currently listed as having a high level of coronavirus transmission. Physical distancing measures will be difficult to set up and maintain in the council chambers. Therefore, for the next 30 days, all meetings of the Provo City Planning Commission administrative hearing will be conducted entirely via electronic means. Meetings are broadcast live and available later on demand at youtube.com/user/Provo Channel 17. Agendas and support materials are available at provo.org/PC admin hearing. To make a public comment or to join a meeting via telephone, follow the instructions provided on public notices for each meeting. To send comments to the Provo City Planning Commission administrative hearing members or weigh in on current issues, email them at dspublichearings@provo.org. Okay. We have two items on the agenda tonight. I will read in the first item and turn it over to the staff coordinator for this proposal for a report, and then open it up to the applicant and then to the public. So item one is Cynthia Simpson requests a conditional use permit for a private school located at 4692 North 300 West in the professional office zone. And this is in the River Bottoms neighborhood.
All right, thank you. So this is where the property is located that the applicant would like to operate the school. The private school will be for students pre-K through 8th grade. And the subject use would have to comply with parking requirements in our code and be able to provide adequate means of student drop-off and pickup. We've got some of that shown here, but essentially the students would be dropped off underneath the building. There's a drive through that goes under the building where they'd be able to be dropped off and then exit out of the other side and back onto the street network there. If you have specific questions about that, I believe the applicant will be able to go into more detail on the drop-off pickup. But as far as other things with this application, they've worked with the Parks Department, as there's an adjacent park to the property, and they're aware that they'll need to apply for permits. If they're going to have like a large event, they'll have to contact the Parks Department and get that approved and reserved for that. Their parking, they have approximately 60 to 70 parking stalls available for the school to use on this site. The code would require, based off the number of rooms that they have, that they'd have 54 parking stalls. So they essentially have sufficient parking to meet that. Staff's recommendation comes with two conditions. The recommendation would be to approve the conditional use permit for the private school with the conditions that school events at the park need to be submitted through a standard events, special events review process and approved through the Parks and Recreation Department. And public or parking requirements need to be met as part of CRC approval. And that's all I have if you have any questions for me.
Okay, thank you. We'll turn to the applicant. Ms. Simpson, if you have anything to add.
I don't have anything to add. Thank you for asking. I feel like we've, again, we've covered the parking issue, and we're happy to look at that again if it ever became a problem. But we have seen so far that we've had more than sufficient parking for the needs. It's really just our teachers that park there. And so that's much less than our 70 allotted slots that we have. And then, yeah, we worked the parks issue is a separate issue for us. So we're happy to work with them on any, and we've spoken to them about that specifically as to how we would use their already in process, the procedures they already have in place for use of the park. And other than that, we're happy to be here, and thank you for your help on this.
Okay, thank you. I will now open it up to the public. Let me go to that slide and wait for if we have any public that would like to comment on this item.
Well, no public comments at this time. Wait 30 seconds.
While we're waiting, we did receive an email from a Miss Walker indicating some concerns with this item, mainly regarding the use of the adjacent park, noting concerns with use and damage and littering, and also with queuing and speed of traffic during drop-off and pickup times. So staff has received that email and has taken that in consideration at this hearing.
No public comments at this time.
Okay. If there are no other public comments, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. I've read through the staff report and understand the concerns of the neighbors initially with the school using the city park, but I believe that the Parks and Recreation Department has worked that out and is satisfied with moving forward with this application. And noting that there is still a condition to meet CRC approval where the necessary plans would be received and approved prior to the final approval. I'm going to go ahead and go with staff recommendation to approve this conditional use permit on the property at 4692 North, 300 West, with the following conditions: that school events at the park must be submitted through the standard special events review process and approved through the Parks and Recreation Department, and that parking requirements are met and CRC approval is received for this item through staff. Thank you for coming out on item 1. We'll now transition to item 2.
Okay, my name is Dustin Wright. I'll be the hearing officer for item number 2 tonight, and I'll go ahead and read that in. Alan Poulson requests project plan approval for a 7,000 square foot addition to Jones Paint Glass located at 1250 West, 100 North in the Freeway Commercial Two FC2 zone in the Dixon neighborhood.
All right, and I am the staff coordinator on this item, so let me just quickly present. This project is part of the main Jones Paint and Glass campus, which has the main entrance off 100 North, 1250 West here, where the cursor is. This particular phase is up on 200 North, adjacent to this address of 1291. The proposal for this phase of the improvement of this campus is to build a new warehouse on this western edge of this building, as well as improve the parking and site and landscaping and entrance on this portion, the eastern portion of this part of the campus. So let me just detail that. Here's the new proposed addition. There's, if you can go back to this, there's a fence all along this property edge and this paved area which has been used for storage, will now be striped for the additional parking required for the warehouse, as well as new parking being striped here on the site and adjacent to 200 North. The landscaping will be improved here with this planter here and plantings through these areas. And then a new garbage dumpster for trash pickup will be included. And there's the landscaping plan. And here are the elevations. Staff has reviewed this. It's gone through the coordinator review committee, the staff review process, and none of the city departments have any issues with this proposal. The only thing that I would note is that this north elevation on the warehouse does not meet the design guidelines of the zone, the Freeway Commercial Two zone. So another material other than metal siding would have to be used on that north side to meet those design requirements. Other than that, this is an improvement to the site. This is helping a long-time Provo business expand and improve in the city. And with it meeting the zoning codes, staff has recommended that this be approved this evening.
All right, thank you, Aaron. And I'll go ahead and give the applicant a chance to comment on the item.
Yeah, this is Alan Poulson. I don't know that I have any comments. I appreciate everyone's review. I was not aware of the material change that's required along 200 North, but we can certainly come up with something there. Yeah, just seems like a slam dunk. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll go ahead and open this item up for public comment at this time.
No public comments, 30 seconds.
And while we're waiting, let me just note that the neighborhood chair notified staff that the neighbors were made known of this proposal and no opposition was received prior to this.
No public comments.
Okay, thank you. So if we can jump back, I guess, just go over those elevations. So you mentioned, Mr. Poulson, that you'd be able to take another look at I believe it would be the north elevation that faces the street there. And can you tell me, I guess, what you would be able to change on that to make it have more of a street appearance as opposed to looking more like the back of a building there?
Well, to start out with, these images were created a little while ago. The actual metal product that's going on there are flush panels that have got a stucco embossed finish on them. So it's not like your typical metal ribbed panels. It's an upgrade on what those look like. And in answer to your question, like I mentioned before, I was not aware of this item, or else I might have come with some ideas, but I need to think about it and run some things past the owner to see what they want to do there.
Okay. Yeah, I've reviewed the application or the staff report and looked through the zone as well. And I think that's probably the main thing that catches my eye. Some attention there. And so without any other comments, I'm ready to make a motion on it. My motion tonight on item number 2 would be a recommendation for approval of the project plan request for Jones Paint and Glass at approximately 1250 West, 100 North in the Freeway Commercial 2 zone, with the condition that the the front facade facing the street, that north elevation, that be addressed with the design standards in the Freeway Commercial Two zone, specifically looking at the materials, doors and windows to give that more of a street-facing look as opposed to a back of a building, and that could be done by working with staff and getting CRC approved, CRC approval from those revised plans showing those changes in compliance with the design standards in that section of code. Okay. Do you have any questions on my motion or that condition? Is that does that work for you to work with staff on a revised plan showing that facade?
Sure, we can do that. We're interested in getting this thing rolling. It's just been a long process for this seemingly simple building, but we'll get back with the staff and get something that they'll be happy with.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. That will conclude our meeting tonight, and thank everyone for their participation.